Hello, my name is Ilona. Today is Monday, November 28th, 2022, and the 17th letter of the alphabet has dropped some postings, very interesting. The first one, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is this one. Be aware of false prophets. I'm not a prophet. You are not a prophet. We are not prophets. Focus on the mission. Apparently, you will be answering a few questions pretty soon. And another one, what is coded in your DNA? Who put it there? Why? Mankind is repressed. We will be repressed no more. Information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Information is power. How do you protect your DNA? There's a war for your DNA. Protect your DNA. Ascension. That's very, very interesting. And of course, this entire war that's going on is about our DNA and it's about our soul. It's a spiritual war. They want to use us in any way possible. And it's about controlling our DNA because we cannot awaken if our DNA is being repressed in all kinds of ways. So that's very interesting that apparently the 17th letter of the alphabet is posting again interesting posts. I will send some clips about animals walking around in circles. I also posted this on my Telegram channel, a few clips. We have sheep, we have all kinds of animals walking around. So that's interesting. There's also one clip of a woman sitting in the water and all kinds of fish are kind of rotating around her. So there is some question about what is going on, what is going on in the energy, and I wanted to take a look at, well, is this about 5G? Is it to do with the energy that is changing around us? What's going on? So I want to take a look at the circles, the animals walking around in circles. We've got the world. We've got the Two of Pentacles in the central card. We have the Ace of Wands in the past. We've got the Knight of Wands underneath the central card. We've got the Knight of Cups. And we have the Page of Pentacles. Well, to me this feels like this is the new energy. The world energy is changing. The grid, the energy around the world is changing. And animals are reacting to this. Animals are very open for that. They sense things. And it's more of an intuitive connection they have with, of course, the energy grid around Earth. But it's changing. The new world is kind of coming in, the energy. It's already there, but it's almost like we're opening ourselves up now. And the animals are reacting to this. So I don't think it necessarily has to do with 5G. I think it has to do with the change of energy. We are changing ourselves. And when we open ourselves up and change our energy, things around us will change. This is about balancing things, about rebalancing things in our world. There's so much things that need to be changed. And if we are changing, if we are looking at ourselves, if we are changing our shadow sides, understanding that if we find balance in ourselves, we're going to find it outside of ourselves. So I think this has to do with the Great Awakening, with people changing and the energies around us are changing. Earth is changing, the entire energy field is changing. And of course the white hats are helping along as well to change this, because we have been repressed for so long, just to use the words, of course, used by the 17th letter of the alphabet. We have been repressed. This is about ascension. This is about changing things. This is about changing our energies and becoming strong and being able to change this entire new world where we long for this new connection, this beautiful new energy. We really want to, manifest that. So this is an opportunity. It's also to show us that things are changing, and it's like a real change that we are starting to see. Things are, the energies are changing. Maybe you even feel that in the just around you. I've been sensing it for quite some time now. Different energies, different way of people are reacting. Of course, some people will react more negatively and other people are more open for it. We are being supported by this energy, but it's up to us to ground it and to be able to use this energy. So I think it is, of course, coming from inside out, because everything ultimately comes from source and comes from inside out. It's really in ourselves that we need to find that connection so we can see it outside. But I believe the animals are already reacting to the change of energy, and that's why you see all these animals walking around in circles. In a way, it's yeah, I find it in a way comforting to look at or to see, because it is a sign that things are changing. The energy is changing, everything changes. That's why it's so important to look at your own energy and that we start to use it to start manifesting this beautiful new world we truly want. So it's very important what we do now and what we work with now, that we really look at ourselves and look at everything inside of ourselves. Connect with source, connect with God, so we can start manifesting. So I think this is actually a beautiful sign from the animals. I don't see this as 5G or something negative. To me, this feels like it's showing the new energy. It's showing the new world. There was also something else that was sent to me that has to do with a court case. And this has to do with the Supreme Court case, I believe, from, let's see, Brunson versus Alma as Adams Eds. And there are a lot of people there. It's for the Supreme Court. And I thought that was very interesting. So I kind of looked up what this was about. And this is a case that involves removing apparently the president and all of Congress. Well, there was a response that was due on November 23rd, and there's been an update. The government nearby waives its right to file a response to the petition in this case unless requested to do so by the court. And it was updated by Brunson, the Solicitor General of the United States Department of Justice, replaced the U.S. attorneys for the defendants on my lawsuit, and as of today waived their right to respond to my lawsuit. The Supreme Court of the United States can move forward on my case. This is very interesting. It isn't really about challenging, well, of course, the results of 2020, but it's about elected officials failing to look into or block attempts of legally required review. So they actually voted against investigating this, and that's very interesting. And there are two lawsuits. This was very interesting to me. Apparently, there are in total, I think, 4 brothers, but 3 brothers decided they witnessed what happened in the 2020. Well, what happened then? And they wanted to do something. So the oldest brother actually tried a lawsuit. If I'm not mistaken, Loy filed the complaint, but eventually that got stuck in the federal court. So that didn't move anywhere. Apparently it's still held up in federal court. Then his other brother, and that is apparently Roland, filed an identical lawsuit with his name on it in the Utah 2nd District Court. Well, apparently the first lawsuit is still being held hostage in federal court. Roland's lawsuit eventually made it to the Supreme Court. So very, very interesting. So apparently the Supreme Court is now allowed to look at it. And this is really a very interesting thing. And they are, I'm just going to scroll down. I'm going to, of course, put all this information on my on the Telegram channel. Let's see. This action is against 388 federal officers in their official capacities, which include, well, Mr. B. It also includes Kamala, Speaker of the House Nancy, former Vice President Mike Pence, and apparently, of course, a lot of other people. All the respondents have taken the required oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and as such they are liable for consequences when they violate the oath of office. So this is going to be very interesting what's actually going to come out in this case, and I just wanted to take a look what the energy is in this case. So let's see. Yeah. We've got the 6 of Swords. We've got the 4 of Pentacles in the central card position. The 5 of Swords in the past. We've got the 4 of Wands underneath the central card. The 7 of Swords for the near future, the future, and the Emperor. Well, to me, this is trying to move away from things, especially what of course happened in 2020. This is about November 2020 and the fact that no one investigated this. And apparently there were 100 members of Congress actually informing that there should have been an investigation because there was obviously something wrong. It was very interesting. That was actually decided, I think, in a proceeding on January 6th, 2021. Yes, something happened on that day. Very interesting that that's at the same time where there was been a procedure when they looked at the voting in November 2020 and decided, at least 100 members of Congress decided there was something wrong. But everyone voted against this, or at least the representatives in this court case, so to speak, didn't want to look at it and made sure there's been no investigation in this. But this is holding on to their own power, to the old, not wanting to deal with it. So I think they thought that if they just didn't pay attention to this, that it would just go away. Of course, one of the lawsuits, the first one, is still caught up in federal court. So that should tell you something, of course, about the, the system that's been going on for such a long time. But I think that this will open up things and more people are noticing this. And this, of course, combined with the midterms is a very interesting, interesting thing going on here. It's waking up people again. They will try to get away with this. They will try from the dark energies to avoid this, not look into this. But I have some very strict, usually this is like a military card, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Supreme Court is going to say something about this that could be very negative in a way for them. It's a bit of a, I'm kind of curious how the Supreme Court is going to handle this and how they're going to respond. But this is very interesting that this court case is actually about removing these people, this 388 representatives, among them Mr. B. And we already see so much going on now with Mr. B and his health and all these things, questions whether he should continue or not. So I think this is going to kind of accumulate into that ultimately he will be removed. But I'm kind of curious in a way. This of course means could be military, but it could also be the court. So we'll have to wait and see what the court ultimately is going to decide in this decision. The dark energies are going to try to get away with this. But it's almost like ultimately the military are going to take over anyway. So that's kind of my feeling. I'm not sure if we're really going to get anything from the Supreme Court about this, because I think there probably something has already happened before that, unless they will decide in like a week or two. I'm not sure how that's going to work. But this is about showing people, this is about showing, of course, the entire system, because one of the court cases got stuck, which is just showing this holding on to this power they think they still have, trying to get away with things, and it's not going to work. So ultimately, whether it is the Supreme Court or the military, this is not going to go, as they are hoping. I think things are going to come out, of course, concerning 2020 and of course what happened with the midterms. It's all going to come out. I think there's no stopping that. So I'd like to leave it at this and hope to see you in another video. Bye.